The big game is fast approaching, but wait, you still haven't got your tickets. You've spent hours searching, but you're still confused about ticket prices. Time to stop searching. Visit ticketcompare.com. We compare ticket prices for all the popular leagues and tournaments for you. We work only with the most trustworthy sites, so you can have peace of mind when buying your tickets. Compare prices, buy tickets, get to the game. Ticketcompare.com. Buying tickets made simple.
Sorry about it, a bit later.
Right, let's broadcast first with Roger kicking us off, please.
Okay, hi David.
Hi there, how you doing?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. First of all, as you can imagine, the transfer window now in full swing. Lots of talk around West Ham. Could you just clear up a couple of things for us? First of all, Diafra Sakho, his situation, seen reports of a fee being agreed with Crystal Palace and so on.
I'm not aware of it at all. I know that there's been talk about it. Diafra's injured, so I couldn't give you any update on it at all, really, no. I'm sorry about that one.
Have there been offers, have there been talks in terms of him moving on?
There's been talks, of course there's been talks. I think everybody's been aware of that for quite a long time here, so. But we're more than happy to keep Diafra. I'm sure about that. There's no problem. We like him. He's been good since we've been here. So we've got no problem if he's still here.
In terms of your striking situation, you talk about Diafra, who's injured at the moment, Andy Carroll, Javier Hernandez, various reports and rumours about all of them being available and show people being interested in them. Are they available, first of all? With the right offer, could you say that any of those could go?
No, I don't want any of them to go. We've got no players here who we want to leave. We need to add to our squad. So ideally, we strengthen. So my intention is not to let MD go. What I will say is we've got 4 or 5 strikers, and obviously the competition's tough for all of them. But I'm happy that way. And if we were, it would need to take an awful lot of money in this window to make us prize any of them out.
Might it be a case that 1 or 2 will go, just if only to perhaps balance up the squad, bring people in, and you say the interest is in terms of bringing people in, not just in the middle?
Well, my interest is in balancing it up and as much getting players in so that the areas we were short, rather than the areas we're full in, I need to try and get the areas we're short in better and make sure that we add to the squad if we can. If somebody comes in with offers, then we can't stop them, but we can stop them by saying no to anything which we don't want to harm.
Can I ask about Javier Hernandez? Obviously you had at Manchester United before. You have him now. He hasn't always played even when fit. Would it be fair to look at that and think that perhaps Javier Hernandez is not a David Moyes player?
No, I think you'd have to say that the form of Marko Arnautovic and Mickey Antonio at the start has probably made it difficult. When I joined, and I'm only here, maybe 9-10 weeks, Javi was injured, and actually we had to go with Marco up front and Mickey up front in different games. They've both done really well. So Chicharito's a really good player. His finishing ability is as good as there is anywhere. He thrives on balls in the box and things around the box. Maybe in a lot of games we've not had quite that service to give him, but it'd be hard pushed to say that he would necessarily be playing in front of the 2 players I mentioned at the moment.
The fact that when you had him at United, when he came here, and you didn't play him a huge amount of times at United, did it make it difficult? Did he have to convince you, or did you have to convince him?
No, not at all. I actually think if you look, I think Alex Ferguson played him, brought him on the bench, off the bench quite a lot, and I was well aware when I joined Manchester United that Chicharito would want more minutes and more time. Very well aware of that. But also I had Wayne Rooney and Robin van Persie, Danny Welbeck, Shinji Kagawa, to name but a few. So you've got to remember the competition at football clubs is hard, but that's why you play at the big clubs. You're good players, you get there. Chicharito's a good player.
It's fair to say, obviously, you've got all the strikers that you have here at the moment. You want to balance the squad, so you're looking elsewhere in terms of bringing in. Key areas, would you say central defence or everything?
No, I think we've got Josie Font on the way back shortly. Hopefully we'll get Ginger on the way back as well. So we've got some central defenders. Would we want to maybe make changes in the future? Possibly, but that'll wait just now. I think we've got other areas. I think we're short in other areas where we're short of numbers. We don't have any changes. We don't have things that we can alter really. So if we can add to those areas, we will do. We're working on it like every club, but we've got nobody lined up just now. We've got nobody we could turn around and say to you that we think it's definitely going to happen with.
In terms of those players that you're interested in, if they're not lined up at the moment, I mean, how far down the line are you? Have there been any bids in at all?
Yeah, we have. We've made a bid for players. We've been turned down, but we wouldn't tell you, or we wouldn't tell, because I want to do my business right and correct, and I'd keep them privately, and I respect sometimes the football clubs who we're talking to about their players.
You look at the prices that have been quoted. How difficult do you think it's going to be to achieve what you want to achieve in this?
Well, I think this is difficult with the costs, but I think that everybody's aware of that, and I think that's why nearly all your questions that have been about players either getting sold or players coming in. I don't think we've had one yet on Huddersfield, so it would tell me that you're only really interested in is the news, and you've answered the question by saying there's not much transfers going on because of the costs.
Just in terms of Huddersfield, this weekend, when it starts to run the fixtures, that people might look at Huddersfield, Bournemouth, Palace, Brighton. Did you see this almost having come through a difficult Christmas period and picked up some really valuable points from some difficult games? Would you say this could almost be a defining period now? You pick up some points from these points, put some real distance between yourselves.
I agree. I think it is a really important period for us. I think that we have come through a difficult period. When I joined the club, I was aware of a couple of games at the start. Then we went into a sort of heavy period, not only with the number of fixtures, but obviously with the teams we were playing. I think we go into a period of games where we're playing against teams around us. But what I would say about that is I think the games there's been no clear conclusion on any of them. The games have been tight. You know, we lost to Newcastle, we drew with Bournemouth, we beat West Brom, we beat Stoke. I think the games are very hard to call, and I think between now and the end of the season, the sort of bottom 10, 12 teams, I think that the results are not foregone conclusions. So we'll need to try and win the games, which makes sure that we're a Premier League club.
So it has been tight in those fixtures, but from what you've seen and the changes that you managed to implement in the short time you've been here, would you say, looking at West Ham and comparing to some of the others, you're on the right trajectory compared to some of the others around you?
I hope you're right, and I think we are going in the right direction, but you know, it's early days and we're only just in the job. But I've got to say the players have been really good. They're taking on board everything we're asking of them. Their energy and their efforts increased, and I think what we've got is we've got people who can score goals here, which will always give us that chance of winning games.
And just in terms of going into this game the weekend, any new injury concerns or anyone who will be back?
Look, we've had quite a lot of injuries. We've got a few who will make it back. We've got a few who there's still doubts about. I think this time of the season, especially in January as well, I think after the amount of games players have played at every Premier League club, you just couldn't be quite sure who's going to be fit and who's not going to be fit. But what I'd say is we've got quite a few coming back, hopefully, for this game against Huddersfield. Thank you.
Well, Ashton Davis. I'm going to ask about Huddersfield. 6 wins, 6 draws. They've adapted quite well to Premier League life, haven't they?
Huddersfield have done great, and I think that Huddersfield and Brighton have probably thrown the gauntlet down to a lot of teams because they've got off to such a good start in the Premier League. I think what it's meant is, you know, there's a lot of teams maybe were thinking that they could be teams who were near the bottom. I think we're all trying to grab them back and bring them back into the pack. And I think if we could beat Huddersfield, we'd certainly do that. We'd get Huddersfield back in amongst us.
They're quite good at home, the Johnson Stadium. What sort of game are you expecting from them? The type of game they play? They're quite a different team to the rest of the side.
I think they're able to do a few things. I think they can play. I think they've got their style's good. They'll play from the back at the right times. I think they've got. They've also got a team which has come up and confident in what they do with their win coming up from the Championship over the last year or two, how they've done so well. So I think they come with momentum and their knowledge of what they're supposed to do. So I think that helps them. And overall they've got some good attacking players which we'll certainly need to be mindful of.
Just looking at the table itself, I think there's only 5 points separating 10th and 18th. Are you surprised it's that congested at this stage of the season?
I don't know. I think the standard of the Premier League, certainly at the bottom half of the league, is making it that a lot of the teams are very similar. And you know, on any given day, as I said earlier, you know, any team could beat the other team, I think. But I've got to say that we've got to try and make sure that we get away and we're pushing on. I want to look up at the moment. You know, I know that with winning a couple of the games which are coming up would make us feel and look much better.
I know, just not repeat what Roger said, but I was on Chris Hughton yesterday. He was saying the games against the teams around, like we were talking, the Huddersfield, the Bournemouth, the Palace. he feels that will define their season. Do you think it'll be the same for you? Those are the ones?
Yeah, in many ways, because you going to take points off the so-called bigger teams is much harder. We're fortunate that we've actually picked up some points, which has given us a foothold where we are. But I'd like us to pick up points, because obviously we take the points off those teams, then we're taking them away from them as well. But they're thinking the exact same as us, and every game is going to be tough. There's not an easy one.
And listen, finally as well, you beat them earlier in the season before you were here, and obviously West Ham aren't in the best form at that stage. So is there lessons to be learned from that game that you've already beaten them?
Well, we've had a look at it. I've had a chance to see it, but I think you just take Huddersfield now, and I think your first question was to say how well Huddersfield had done in the Premier League. I think 6 wins, and they're going really well at the moment, Huddersfield. So we go up there. It'll be a hard game. Their home form is probably where they got themselves promoted over the last year or two, and how well they've done. So we're going to go up there. It'll be a tough match, and hopefully we can come away with 3 points.
Thanks, Dave.
David, are you aware of what he's done, David Wagner, in terms of bringing the whole community together behind the club? And as you'll know, a club with tremendous history.
Yeah.
Herbert Chapman.
Yeah. Huddersfield have always been one of the clubs. I used to go and watch some games there quite regular at different times, and through different leagues. I think the job that he's done is terrific. I think the job he's doing in the Premier League's terrific as well, because they're certainly, I was going to say they're in there fighting. They're more than that. They're in there easily competing and showing that they can do the job. So great credit to come up the leagues. I think momentum's a big thing now. You're seeing that I think teams who do come out the Championship and go up, they can go into the Premier League with momentum. Maybe not all of them, but certainly Huddersfield have. Brighton are a great example of that as well. Even Newcastle as well, to be fair, are in there fighting with all the other teams.
When you look at a team that's come up in the past, is the second half of the season usually more difficult for them? I know that you've not managed those teams that have come up, but having seen other teams that have done it.
Well, I think that your start gives you a real boost, and it gives you a feeling that you've got a platform to try. Undoubtedly we'll all have an idea in our mind how many games we need to win, how many points we might need to get, and I think the sooner you get to something like that total, you can feel a bit better. I think every win any of the teams in the bottom half get and knock off is a one towards where you feel as if you'll stay up. Huddersfield have already got 6 wins at this time in the season. It's a pretty good total.
Yeah, I think only Chelsea, Man City and Spurs have won there, which shows that when they're playing teams plus Man U, they've performed very well.
No, they have. I think that's what I'm saying. I think that the ability to play in different ways. I think they can attack when they need to. I think they've got attacking players. I think if they have to defend against teams, which I think we saw probably a month ago in telly against Man City, they were a bit unlucky in that game. And as you talked about Man United game as well, I think they've got a bit of both about them, and I think they've got a bit of steel because of their togetherness, which brought them up through the leagues.
Was that your game at Stoke? Was that kind of the blueprint for you for an away performance, because you really nailed it, didn't you, that day?
We did, and I think that we need that level of performance away from home in a few occasions. We've got quite a few games to come at the London Stadium between now and the end of the season, but I think if we can get a few wins away from home, it'll make our job much easier.
And you mentioned the transfer window with the players that you could look at. With the forwards that you've got, are you also looking for the creative players who can unlock their potential?
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit what I said. We've got players like Chicharito who maybe need supplied in the box. Andy Carroll probably needs supplied with crosses. Andre Oil looks for good balls into feet in and around the box. So there's a mixture of us trying to get players who can give the best service we can to the forward players we've got. We've got very different forward players who I think will need at very different times in games. So that's why I could do with them all being fit, so that they could give me options to choose in the games.
Thank you.
Okay, cameras off please, guys.